Mr. Bubba. I love you. I don't think you need this flea collar anymore. Good boy. I love you. You're such a good boy. You're such a good cat. You're such a good boy, Bubba's. I love you so much. Those beautiful claws, huh? It's okay, Mr. Beautiful. Every step of the way, I love you. I love you yesterday. I love you 10 years ago. I love you tomorrow. I love you forever, Bubba. Will you please stay with me? Will you please come with me? Will you please jump into my soul? Don't leave. I don't know. my Bubba, my Willow. I adopted him in January 2012. I adopted him from the Maui Humane Society. And he, I adopted Willow, Maui Humane Society, December of 2012. I saw his picture, and I had to have him. I was in a different life at the time. I was with my ex-boyfriend, and we had just bought an old plantation house. Well, I guess the gist of it is my ex-boyfriend had bought. I felt it was we, because I worked with him in his business, and I felt it was we. So I wanted to go rescue an unadoptable cat from the Maui Humane Society. It was a kill shelter, at least at that time. I don't know if it is. I'm pretty think it still is, but it was. And I kept looking at pictures, try to find a mongrel, try to find some type of cat that that no one probably wanted, and I was overjoyed when I saw a picture of this black cat, and he looked so very awkward. And I went and saw him, and he was on a shelf in the cat room. It was the old cat room before it was all nice like it is now. And he was on this wall shelf. I put my hand under his little face. He wiggled into it like that. And I picked him up. I said, "Can I pick you up?" And he said yes. And I picked him up. And I poked at him, and I prodded at him, and wanted to see if he was gonna bite me, because he is so big, and his face at the time was so round. I mean, he was quite intimidating. He had a broken front canine, and these big giant claws, and I couldn't wait. Even though the house wasn't ready, I couldn't wait, and I adopted him. Well, our house wasn't ready, and we weren't living there yet. I put him overnight and I didn't want to keep him closed up in the box, because I was younger then, and I thought, he deserved to be free. Open the box, keep him in the house. It was empty, but we're back tomorrow. I figure if he's in a box cage in the empty house would be a bigger cage than that. Well, I didn't realize that the bathtub was under construction. We had pulled the tub away from the wall to make a kind of an extension with tile, and he got into the under the house area, and luckily he was okay. And then I couldn't find him. I couldn't get him out. Well, my brother Kyle, my eldest brother, who was a cat whisperer, at least at the time, he came over, and he was on island on a vacation. He came and he coaxed him out with a piece of lunch meat. He had brought some lunch meat, and I thought, oh, this is stupid. I kind of threw it out, and Kyle came out, and he's like, I see Willow. I see the cat. Give me the lunch meat. Give me the lunch meat. He, oh, shoot, threw it away. My bad. I went and grabbed it from the rubbish, and I and handed it to him, and he took the lunch meat, and it lured Willow, and he grabbed him, and I held him, and we became closer friends after that. But he ran off, and he had enough of that situation, and at that point, me and my ex were staying in Maluhia, just a little bit further away from Old Town Wailuku, where the house was. Well, it was down on Kaniela Street in Old Wailuku Town, and Mr. Willow here just got his chance at freedom, and that was it. He was off on his own, and all I had to go with was that very short time when I first adopted him. Otherwise, he was basically had that bad situation kind of unfold, and we didn't get to bond further. Well, after some time, I couldn't tell you if it was days, weeks, a couple months, I really don't know. But I had made friends with all the neighbor. We finished the repairs on the house enough, and we moved in. And I went talking to, made friends with the new neighbors, and there's this one neighbor named Neil, and he lived kind of this little business across the street, kind of catty corner to the house, and he had a cat. Her name was Callie. She was a calico, really nice calico, really friendly cat. And so I told him to keep an eye out for a black cat. If he saw a black cat trying to get at Callie's food or water, or lurking around, that there's a chance that it was that cat that I had adopted, the black cat, the unadoptable cat. He looked really scary and unadoptable. So I took him, and one day Neil came over and he said, hey, there's a black cat poking around. It's been poking around a couple days, and he's over there poking around right now. So I went, and he found him. He was behind a chain link fence, behind some stuff, and kind of a hard to get to area, and I tried to get to him, and I ended up having to walk all the way up and around the corner to try to find him. And there was neighborhood kids, there was chain link fences, there was private property yards, and we're talking Old Wailuku, and I don't know, but it didn't feel comfortable to go poking around in yards that aren't yours, especially for me. And I was even more of a, little white girl, a haole girl at that time. And then there's all these neighborhood kids, and I tell them, hey, I'm trying to get this cat, and then I had to tell them all, to kind of go away and let me try to pursue the cat. And the kids understood. They were on bikes, and they were on scooters. There was 10 deep. It was a pretty good group of elementary aged kids. I finally got to him, picked him up and held him in my arms. And I made around the corner, and then there was my ex-boyfriend, and he, in all his wonderment, wanted to help. And I didn't realize at the time how sensitive this cat was to humans. He does not care for them. He's very timid. The sight of my boyfriend coming up on him just terrified him. He dug deep into my arms and he clawed his way out of my grasp. And I did try to hold on to him. And I knew this at the time, having been a cat person since childhood. But when a cat is really ready to jump off of you, you better let him, because he will get torn to shreds. He tore me up a little bit, but I understood, and I was very disappointed, because now it had been months. This poor guy, he needed my help. He needed food, he needed shelter, he needed water, he needed to know that he had care from humans to him. And it just was a lot, and I didn't think that now that I thought that was my only chance. And go to bed thinking about him and hoping about it. I'd go out and I'd call his name. I'd look out the bedroom window. It was an old plantation house, and the screens we hadn't been able to repair. They were all the old wood type screens that you could attach to the wood windows. And so it's just the wood windows, wood frame, wood window, and open them up at night for the wind breeze to come through, and there was no screen. And the cat, I think, figured out that that's where I was sleeping. Somehow, Willow figured it out. And see, I would go out and call him because I knew he was in the neighborhood. And I'd call him. They had named him at the Humane Society because they do that. They name the cats, the dogs. And they had named him Willow. And I'm out there going, Willow, Willow, Willow. And then one night I was laying in bed there, and it was 2 in the morning, midnight, I don't know, middle of the night, and then I hear a cat out the window go, meow, meow, meow. I'm like, oh my God, the cat's out there calling Willow. He was calling me Willow. So I go out there, I go, Willow, Willow. And so he came out to the window and he goes, rah, rah, and I couldn't believe it was him. Little by little, he started coming into the house. And because I would install the cat door, and he would come into the house in the middle of the night. He would go by my bedside and he would say, wah, until I woke up. And I would wake up and I would get out of bed and I would pick him up out of the little hallway there and take him to the couch. We had this nice little green couch. It was corduroy. It was really comfortable and small. And I would hold him and lay on the couch and fall asleep with him on the couch. Well, my ex started getting upset because it started happening every night. And we used to kind of couple that would sleep like entwined, like arms entwined, legs or whatever. We were always touching each other, and that's how we were able to sleep really well. We kind of were like a couple sleeping. And my ex started getting jealous that I started leaving the bed and sleeping with the cat. Yes, and you know what? I've known the cat longer. And I know the cat to be better than him. And my ex, that is. Yes, my beautiful Bubba's. I love him so much. And so now it's 2024. I adopted Willow January of 2012. At that time, they gave him to me for $10 instead of $50 adoption fee, because they said based on his ear tattoo that he, according to the best of their records, indicated he was at least 11 years old, making him a discount senior animal. So I was able to adopt him for $10 because he was a senior in 2012. So if he was at least 11 in 2012 and now we're in 2024, look how soft he is. Look how soft he is. I mean, maybe he doesn't look like much. He's a lot. He's a lot to me. I'd lost a lot of my hopes and dreams when the relationship ended, when I knew I wasn't going to have that life that I thought I had built, and I knew it wasn't. I felt used. I felt taken advantage of, and that I felt like an unpaid contractor that did the entire foundation, and someone came in and drywalled and wallpapered, painted, and got paid for the whole job. But I basically lost everything. And I've lost everything a few times, I guess. And that's how it goes for some people, That's how it goes. And I guess in this life, that's just how it goes. Some people lose everything. Some people lose everything over and over again. That loss is a lot. And Willow's grown old. Oh, I lost years with them. He ended up living in my dad's backyard in Oregon because what I thought was going to be his forever home, my forever home, it wasn't. And my dad took him in and took in my other cat, Pancoon. Cancun and Willow were best of friends. They did everything together, and a few years ago, Cancun dropped out. Don't know what happened to him, but the two cats depended on each other. The pandemic hit, and I, being in Hawaii and being a, stage 4 neuroblastoma survivor, I actually got hit really hard with COVID and heart disease. Finally led to my massive coronary. And after the coronary, then my kidney tumors twisted and bled, and I had to have that thing, emergency surgery that hurt so bad. They put these coils in, called metal coils, and like injected into the blood supply, and it kills the tumor and closes the crack. Or, it just closes it off. Just, I guess it coagulates it or something. I don't know. Blood clots it into some type of secure way, I'm hoping. Well, I wasn't able to get into Oregon. And I finally did, my dad had had a stroke. And not my daddy anymore. Another story. And there was no care for Willow. He had gotten in a bad way physically. And his physical needs outweighed his physical ability. And by the time I got to him, this was 2.5 months ago, he was like picking up